Hello.
What was that jig?
I just get excited. The moment right before the video appears, I get butterflies.
You get a jig going?
I get a jig going.
He gets a jig going. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Dual Senses, a PlayStation podcast, your most consistently inconsistent PlayStation podcast out there. I'm Alex Wolf, joined here with the one, the only, the bald one.
I'm not
Steven
completely
Morrow.
bald. I'm just extra shiny right now. I'm
Extra
holographic.
shiny.
I'm a shiny now.
You're a shiny?
I'm a shiny.
A shiny.
The shiny.
You can catch the show live each and every weekend, because I'm not going to say a day or time, either on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch.
That's the safe route.
By all means, we love it if you like, share. I'm totally fucking this up. It's been a minute. We haven't done this.
It has been a hot second. I was sick.
He was sick.
That's really it.
Yeah,
That's
really,
it. I was dying.
He still is, honestly.
Yeah, but I'm less sick.
Yeah, you're not as bad as you were like last weekend, especially because last weekend you were dead.
I didn't want to move.
Mm-mm.
I didn't want to be alive. Well, I still have a little bit of that, but
okay.
It's.
You can catch the show on Facebook Live, YouTube, or Twitch. When not long after, we are uploaded into an audio file on Spotify, Apple Podcast. By all means, like, comment, share, subscribe, all the things. If you want to help the show grow and you want to show us a huge level of love, head on over to www.mtfproductions.com/donate. We can donate as little as $1 to help us grow, do new things, crazy things, all sorts of fun stuff. I was going to ask, normally I'd ask how you've been, but I know how you've been.
Yeah,
and
I've been dying.
Sick.
Also, just heads up, I apologize ahead of time. If I start coughing and dying in the middle of the show,
he was like
fine.
on the floor.
just ignore me.
Like on the floor.
It's fine.
Lung coming up. There was blood everywhere.
There was a lung.
Innards.
It's just not there anymore. I don't have a lung anymore.
Yeah, he's actually an Android, just plugged into a wall right now.
You know, hopefully more of a 9S than a bad Android.
Disgusting. Ugh.
I like 9s.
This, Steven, is our 50th episode.
Yeah. What is it called? You know how they have like in a marriage, like there's a certain anniversary that's like the diamond anniversary. Is that the 50 year?
I mean, it has to be because there ain't no one out there married for 100 years.
Yeah, nobody.
Yeah, nobody.
You can't be married for 100
unless
years.
You're getting married at like 5 and you live to be 105, which I'm pretty sure is illegal in most places. So
at least
the diamond episode. Here we are.
Diamond episode. There we go.
And it's
the golden anniversary.
There he is.
Thank you, Nicholas Noir.
Is it Noir or Nair? Can I not read? It's definitely Noir. I say if Nair is, I mean, he's probably. You talking about you being shiny. He's fucking glistening.
Glistening?
I mean, he's, hairless. Nothing. Bathing in the Nair.
It's not Nair. It's
Noir. I thought it was. And I was saying if it was, he would be glistening. He is not glistening, though.
Anyway, so the golden anniversary. That's nice.
Yeah, that's nice.
It's nice.
Well, I don't know if we call it the anniversary. The golden episode.
Golden episode.
Because it hasn't been a year.
The golden shiny. It's been more than a year, though, of us doing this, I think.
This show? No. Other shows, maybe, if we're wrapping them all together.
Anyways, this is a very special episode.
Because we're covering the latest state of play.
This is my favorite kind of thing. I love it when there's a bunch of new announcements and we get to talk about it and get all excited.
And talk about things that weren't shown off. First of all.
That weren't shown off?
Weren't shown off. There's a few things I was expecting to see.
Oh, you're supposed to go in with no expectations.
I'm not going. Okay, bullshit. No one goes in there with no expectations.
That's very true.
That can't happen in this day and age of information.
All right. So before we get into what we did see, what's something that we didn't see that you think we thought we would see?
With all of the things revolving around God of War Ragnarok, with the massive accessibility options and gameplay thing we got, and then the ratings leaking in South Korea. I was like fully expecting them, and it's summer, and this game is supposed to come out within the next 6 months.
And there's like rumors though that it could be pushed back, but they keep coming out and saying no, it's on time.
Like, you've got 6 months, and we don't know. So like, I was expecting to see some kind of a release date window.
Half a century of a loving, committed relationship.
That makes me feel like I'm actually 50.
It's just nice to be in a loving, committed relationship with Alex.
No. No.
With PlayStation. A loving, committed relationship with PlayStation.
That still makes me feel old. I'm not 50.
Sometimes you act like it. You stand up and you're like, oh, my back.
That's real. Like, everything hurts all the
My
time.
knees.
Jesus. Anyway,
There it is.
So that was one thing. And then two, I was expecting to hear something about Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2.
Yeah, actually, even though we didn't really have too much to go on, like to suggest that we would see it.
We had enough. We got directors and we have Square coming out saying like, hey, will be some announcements regarding Final Fantasy, with it being not only the 35th anniversary of Final Fantasy as a whole, it is, I believe, the 20th anniversary of Final Fantasy VII. So, and with it being the Summer Games Fest, I was expecting to hear something, especially with it being a PlayStation exclusive, outside of it being on PC.
The anniversary, I think, is probably the biggest thing that would have been nice.
And so, and then with this being a focus on third party, I was expecting to hear more about that than I did God of War.
Yeah,
it all fit, and we didn't hear it.
That's
true.
true.
Like, okay, after that didn't happen, I'm like, all right, I have no expectations of what's going in here. So, without further ado, we'll just roll it off. First and foremost.
Hold on. There is one thing that I was thinking that we would hear from or see, and that's The Last of Us Factions. I thought they would have like just a teaser.
That's fair.
And especially in the opening of the show.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
But yeah, we'll get into that. So first, though, you wanted to talk about...
First, though, huge congratulations to PlayStation for selling 20 million consoles.
20 million.
PlayStation 5 is out there, 20 million.
That's more than I've ever had.
That's real.
So,
yeah.
There's that. Of anything. I don't think I've ever had 20 million of anything.
Yeah, and I think about it, I wonder... So PlayStation 4 hit 50 million back in, 2018, 2019? Because they released the limited edition PS4 Pros with all the dark blue see-through stuff.
How many years did it take to get to that point?
That's what I mean. So the PS4 launched end of 2013, early 2014, I believe. So at least, to get to 50 million, roughly 4 to 5 years. Right?
And we're already almost halfway there.
Uh-huh.
After, what, 2? 1.5?
Yeah, 1.5.
So, that's pretty good.
Wild.
Pretty
Crazy
good
stuff. Good stuff for PlayStation.
During a pandemic.
During chip shortages,
global
supply
shutdown.
chains, and all sorts of shit that can possibly hit the fan.
Can you imagine if the pandemic didn't happen? I wonder if it actually helped the system. Because, traditionally, the video game industry does better as people suffer. That's just a rule. If the economy goes down, then entertainment goes up. And specifically, video games tend to thrive. So I'm curious if the PlayStation 5 would have done as well if we didn't have the pandemic. But there's no real way for us to...
the only thing I could say that benefit is the hype around it with just the lack of availability. That mystique, similar to how Nintendo handled the Amiibos back in the day. With that limited release, while these figures virtually did little at their initial release, people loved them, clamored for them, and it was almost a fight. What we're seeing now, how retailers are handling PlayStation 5s and the Xbox Series X is how retailers were handling Amiibos 6-7 years ago.
Yeah. But there's also the factor of people. A lot of people, especially in the U.S., were stuck at home, and then we started getting literal checks from the government.
Yeah.
So we had
more disposable income.
Yeah. So I wonder if that also, to touch on Nicholas Noir's point here, they ask how many are in the hands of scalper bots. I think that getting this sort of supplemental or extra income might have justified spending more than they normally would have, more than the MSRP to buy a system. But I'll tell you right now, Nicholas Noir, I don't think many PlayStation 5s are in the hands of scalper bots right now because they would have sold them. the longer you hold on to a PlayStation 5, the more it depreciates in value. You want to strike while the iron's hot. So even if they were grabbed up by scalper bots, somebody's willing to pay more than retail price to buy those PS5s. So I would reckon that most of them are either out in the wild or in some warehouse being held for like what's it called? Distribution
centers. And PlayStation also put out a
reasons.
comment stating when they announced this number to GamesIndustry.biz that they're expecting to significantly ramp up production of the consoles. So that'll be nice.
I thought this said World War III at first.
World
Said,
War
I lived through World War We. Yeah, same.
Yeah.
We worked retail during the Wii, didn't we?
No, we were in middle school. We launched a year before PS3.
Oh,
Or no, same year.
It was just still
Same
selling
year.
like crazy.
Yeah.
By the time that we
Well, by
started.
the time we were in actually working video game retail, it was fucking Wii.
I never knew people would want a pre-owned Wii so fucking bad.
For
but-
Netflix of all things.
Yeah.
Not even to play the game.
The
but for
Netflix disc.
Oh, Netflix disc. What a time. But yeah, so they're expecting to wrap up production there. And this is after, a year and a half. So 18 months and they sold 20 million consoles.
Damn,
Crazy. Crazy to think about.
that's pretty cool. Congratulations.
All right, moving right along. Talk about this here state of play.
Yeah, so as you know, State of Play, June 2022. It did happen. Before it happened, they stated that it would be mostly focused on new announcements from third party and PlayStation VR 2. So that's exciting. But when this State of Play started, I heard a little bit of like some acoustic guitar. It was all moody. And then a little sliver opened, and then you see like a little bit of like a forest scene,
Some foliage.
and I was like, Jesus Christ, it's Last of Us Factions. But no.
Or that godforsaken fucking Last of Us remake they're talking about doing.
Yeah, or that. Yeah.
For some stupid ass reason.
But no, it was Resident Evil 4 remake. So that was how they opened the show. It's Resident Evil 4 remake.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Like,
Honestly,
there's not
I'm
really
more
much more
excited
to say.
about that than Last of Us Factions. So Resident Evil 4 sparked the gameplay shift in the Resident Evil franchise that really got me interested in it. When Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3 first originally released back on the PS1, I was too young. I didn't experience them too much. I did not have the income then to buy any games I wanted. That was kind of at my whimsy, my parents' whimsy. As to what I could and couldn't play, what I would have. And the gameplay at the time, you had the tank controls and whatnot. Resident Evil 4 is what did that drastic leap of third person over the shoulder. You had Ashley as the AI companion. The game, while focusing on horror, took more of an action approach. While I had played it, I never actually owned it, so I think I borrowed it from you on the GameCube and played what I could.
Didn't they skip a generation as well? Like they went from PS1 to
No, so
the
4,
GameCube.
Yeah, they went to GameCube, and the PS2 version was later released.
Okay.
That's
right.
For Resident Evil 4, which included the Ada Wong extra stuff there. And so playing that got me excited. And then my next big foray was Resident Evil 5. But Resident Evil 4 is what really set this new gameplay tone for Resident Evil 5, 6, and then we got Resident Evil Biohazard with 7.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to play this. I can't wait to see how it goes. If it's on the same level of Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 with their recent remakes, this game is all, and just based off of the previous history of what Resident Evil 4 was.
And like arguably, I would even say that Resident Evil 4 is. I don't even think it's that controversial to say this, but I think it's the most important Resident Evil.
It pound for pound is the
like,
best Resident Evil out there.
There's an argument to be made. There's an argument to be made for Resident Evil 7, just because it kind of brought it back into like modern,
more horror-esque.
But yeah, Resident Evil 4, I think is the highlight of the franchise.
Yeah, I think that's what sparked the rejuvenation of the franchise. And I mean, 7, honestly, you could also the same argument. There was a big shift in perspective with it being more survival. And this first one they went first person, in a mainline games at least. And you've seen that with 7 and 8, and 7 again, hugely critically acclaimed in the same way is doing what Resident Evil 4 did for Resident Evil back then. Because 5 was good, 6 was bad.
5 also wasn't great. I think
I liked 5. It wasn't horror-esque, it was more action. but the gameplay was fun. The story was engaging.
And also, like,
It was
everything
just-
looked the same.
Oh yeah,
It fell in that era where all games were just
brown, gritty.
Yeah,
Everything was dirty,
lots
Yeah.
of dirt.
but they were also in South Africa in poverty-driven areas. So not
Yeah,
a
but,
whole
like-
lot of variety could have happened.
Still, that's around that time. I feel like 90% of every like big AAA game was like that color
Dark,
scheme.
dingy, Mad Maxy kind
Realistic.
of atmosphere. Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, excited for Resident Evil 4 remake. Can't wait.
Yeah, I'm not like as hyped about it, but I know that that's a big one.
Mhm.
So
Coming up, also from Capcom,
this was a Capcom heavy show.
leading in to I definitely believe if there's an acquisition from PlayStation,
It's
for a big
Capcom.
it's gonna be fucking Capcom.
Well, it's either Capcom or Square Enix.
My money's on Capcom more than Square.
What if it's both?
I doubt we'll get both, especially after the whole Square thing where they're trying to get sold off all that stuff to get funding for blockchain.
Yeah, but remember, I think it was the last episode we recorded. PlayStation like started a acquisition department. Like they're going heavy.
Oh yeah,
On
but even then,
acquisitions.
but Square doing what they're doing right now to position themselves to invest in this thing, I don't think they would pitch. We talked about that too. I don't think they're going to pitch. Oh hey, we're going to invest in this, but also by the way, we're going to get bought. We're working with this deal behind the scenes to get bought. So whatever I say right now doesn't mean anything.
Who knows? Crazier things have happened.
That's
But
true.
definitely, this was a Capcom heavy show. So, I feel like Capcom is definitely in the running for something.
Damn right.
But-
Especially with this next one, we have a gameplay reveal for Street Fighter 6.
And this one, they're like putting the street in Street Fighter.
Yeah.
It is. I think it looks really freaking cool.
That's right.
personally.
So it's coming from the PlayStation blog. It's aiming for a 2023 release date. This is coming to PS4 and PS5. We've got more of an urban-esque feel to it, akin to Street Fighter 3. With you've got more street-wearing characters, like street clothing. You've got Ryu, who's out in the forest in the woods, typical. You got Chun-Li. We saw characters of Luke, who was the newest addition to Street Fighter 5, now becoming a mainstay with Street Fighter 6. A new character by the name of... If I can find it.
Still doing the drum roll.
Yeah, just keep doing the drum roll. Hold on, we're gonna find it. We're gonna find him. And brand new face, Jamie.
Oh,
Jamie.
That's
Coming. And he's got like a capoeira type,
a
the,
unremarkable name. No offense to any Jamies out
yeah,
there.
it's just
But-
nothing crazy. But with the capoeira type fighting style there. But we got some new game modes we're looking at. We've got you saw this, which is really cool. It was like an open world hub type deal.
Yeah,
Where you could took a character, which it could have been Luke, but it also because they were like very generic. They
And
were
in a
covered in
hood.
just like a hood, a hooded jacket, and sweatpants running around town. So I don't know if there's going to be a creative character aspect to this, or if you're just going to have like an online avatar where you go out in this hub world.
either way,
Um,
there's definitely like an open hub area.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it extends to more gameplay, but it kind of gave me like Splatoon vibes. Like, the hub city in Splatoon.
Yeah.
And like that also has a very like, oh, here's a city with graffiti, and it's kind of like that kind of like punk-ish vibe. And I kind of like that vibe for Street Fighter. Like I was more excited about this than I think I've been for any fighting game, really, other than PlayStation All Stars. But that's because I'm a loser.
Anyway, but the game's gonna be really cool. We got 4 new fighters. Not 4 new fighters.
Yes, we can. We
I-
can talk about Ryu's huge package and the fact that there were certain points where it's almost like they would emphasize. He would do like a kick, and then they would zoom in.
I didn't pay attention to that to know this was a thing that people on the internet were talking about. But
It's always a thing. It's always a thing.
Ryu's huge package.
Ryu's huge package.
Big dick swinging with a Hadouken.
Hideki.
Anyway,
God.
so there's in-depth profiles on the PlayStation blog talking about the character select moves, the background on the characters as well. They're also detailing the new control scheme made for more accessible to newcomers, so which is really cool because Street Fighter has always been a game that's kind of had an in-depth fighting system. It's not the easiest thing to pick up on, and I think games like Dragon Ball Fighters and the most recent Mortal Kombat games have made a good job of making those games accessible to play for newcomers to get on a more advanced level over time. So by all means, head out to the PlayStation blog and check it out.
I think it looks really cool.
Yeah, we'll kind of keep with the trend of Capcom stuff because next up with Capcom, Resident Evil Village coming to PSVR 2.
This is exciting because I was hoping that Resident Evil Village was going to launch with some kind of VR mode. I thought that they had like an ace up their sleeve before it was coming out, and then it didn't, and now we know why. Because they were developing it for PSVR 2. And I guess it makes sense because there was a big change in like visual fidelity and like graphical quality when playing Resident Evil 7 in VR. Just because that happens with VR games. They just can't do it. But with PSVR 2, it was interesting because they were showing what I'm assuming was in-game footage of it running in VR.
Yes.
And it looked just like Village. Like it looked exactly the same, which is nice. So now with VR games, we're basically getting PS4 level visuals, which is nice because I feel like with PSVR on PlayStation 4, we were basically getting PS3 or sometimes PS2 level visuals, and now it's like it's a pretty big leap, I think, for console VR space. So that was exciting to me.
Yeah, it's really cool, especially with the success, like you mentioned, of Resident Evil 7 coming to VR. Now the difference being that Resident Evil 8 did not launch with it, then begs the question of, will Resident Evil 8's VR 2 compatibility be a free add-on for people who already own it, or will there be like a purchase upgrade of like $10 to $20 for people who already own the game?
I hope it's a free add-on.
We don't have a release date or pricing info, and they mentioned that specifically in the PlayStation blog article about it. So I wouldn't be surprised if there is some kind of add-on price there.
Well, was Village in that list of PlayStation Plus premium games?
No.
Okay.
I don't believe so.
I can't remember. But either way, I'm curious if that's going to be wrapped up in that. And then that might be a way to do that and then maybe bundle it with VR bundles. I feel like that's good for a bundle.
It could be we see the VR capable version come out additionally as a standalone thing, but if you subscribe to a higher tier level of PlayStation Plus, you get it for free.
Yeah.
Since this will be exclusive to PSVR 2, PC's not getting it, Xbox obviously isn't getting it, so they can kind of get away with, hey, subscribe to a higher level tier, we'll give you this free compatible mode, otherwise you have to pay like $10-15 for it.
I hope it's a free update personally. I feel like it would be really good to push the PSVR with that kind of thing. Even if they have to eat some kind of cost, I feel like it would be worth it to push the hardware.
Arguably, Resident Evil 7's free pack-in with the VR mode helped support VR sales.
Exactly.
So
now with all of this Resident Evil love for PSVR, I'm wondering if Resident Evil 4 remake or just a port of the Resident Evil 4 VR that was on PC will eventually make its way to PSVR 2, because that would be a big deal. And a lot of people who have played Resident Evil 4 VR have said that that's like their favorite way to play Resident Evil 4.
I think I don't think Resident Evil 4 remake. I don't think the remake will have a VR mode. I think we would just be seeing the VR version port come over. Simply because the way the gameplay is. It is a third person over the shoulder aspect. Resident Evil 4 VR, I think they had they had to shift to a first person's perspective. I think for a remake where they're building it from the ground up, the game would be delayed further than 2023 if they're looking at, because they would essentially make two versions of the game.
Yeah, well, I mean, Resident Evil 4 remake is coming to PS4 though, right? So since PSVR 2 can handle PS4 level visuals, they wouldn't really have to rework too many things as long as they're mindful of it when designing.
Well, it's more about not necessarily the levels, but the camera perspective.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. While we're on the subject of PSVR 2, Nicholas Noir asks, will we still be using PlayStation Move motion controllers too?
No, they have the new VR. They have the new Sense controllers that we'll be using that they've detailed in the PlayStation blog. They look similar to what the Oculus uses for their controllers, like an orb. So it'll be a different controller.
And it's all internal tracking. You don't need a camera at all.
Yes. So everything from the current PSVR obsolete because there's no reason to have. There's no compatibility with the new VR2. So you're starting from the ground up with this headset. So
as far as like peripherals and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's actually one of the reasons why I'm excited for PSVR 2, honestly, because I feel like those controllers were a little bit of a hassle. But yeah, good question. Do we want to stick with PSVR and go through all of this?
Yeah, let's go by all means.
Let's stick with some zombies right now.
Yeah.
All right, another one of the announcements was Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Chapter 2 is coming to PlayStation VR 2. And for those of you who haven't played it, Walking Dead Saints and Sinners is a zombie RPG. It's actually a lot more in-depth and surprisingly innovative considering it's a Walking Dead title. But lots of really cool stuff, like weapon upgrades and immersive inventory where you like tuck stuff into your pockets and things like that. And one of the big things about the first chapter, I guess, of the game is people loved the sense of weight to the weapons. Like when you take a hatchet and like bust a zombie's skull with it, you can like kind of feel it, and you have to yank to get it out of their skull. So that's kind of neat. But yeah, that was a little bit of a surprise hit on PlayStation VR.
Well, on PC
the first
VR,
one.
and then I think because it was on PC first.
Yeah,
it made its way over. So and it was just Walking Dead historically has not had it's been an iffy track record with video game releases. While the Telltale series was heralded in its early days, the later seasons kind of fell off, and then there was the Walking Dead. Yeah. So,
but this game, at least the first one, was great. So it was kind of neat seeing a sequel. I hadn't heard anything about a sequel for that. So it was cool.
Good deal.
Good stuff. And then lastly, not lastly, we'll save that for that. Okay. Also for PSVR 2, No Man's Sky was announced that it's in development for PSVR 2. They showed some clips that I'm assuming were from PSVR 2. It's hard to tell because No Man's Sky looks like No Man's Sky, and we already have a PSVR version for the PS4. But it is, again, a noticeable graphical downgrade when playing on the PS4 PSVR. I feel like this is going to be more one-to-one with what No Man's Sky has evolved to look like. This is the game that keeps on giving. I bet you anything PSVR 2 patch is going to be free. And
yeah, I think it'll be a free
cool
thing. I don't think we'll see new, exclusive on PS5. I think it's just another way for people playing No Man's Sky can go on too. No, unfortunately, your Eye of Judgment setup is one, impressive you still have it. 2, also impressive you know what it is. 3, no, unfortunately, it's going to be useless.
I kind of do miss Eye of Judgment. The novelty of it.
Yeah, because
I didn't really care for the game, but like the novelty of it.
I really wanted them to convert that tech into an exclusive Yu-Gi-Oh game.
Honestly, if it was Yu-Gi-Oh, then
gangbusters.
The timeline would have changed.
Printing
would have been the biggest thing.
They're fucked up.
Look at Konami now. Konami now is more profitable than it's ever been, and it's just because of the Yu-Gi-Oh free-to-play game that they just released. That's literally it.
Well, no, Duel Links, the free-to-play game they've had for years, which has also been hugely successful.
Yeah, but the new one just blew up, and now they are more profitable than they've ever been so far this year.
Damn right.
That's huge.
Time to duel, motherfuckers.
What is it? Eye of Judgment. Yu-Gi Eye of Judgment. I don't know.
You would just call it Yu-Gi-Oh for
we should just.
What the fuck?
I'm sure. No, it's fine. The crossover that nobody asked for. But probably the biggest news, or I guess the biggest reveal, because we already knew that it existed for PlayStation VR 2, was we had a gameplay reveal for Horizon Call of the Mountain.
That's real.
And this is the PSVR 2 exclusive Horizon game developed by Firesprite. Was that right?
It was Firesprite in conjunction with Guerrilla.
Yeah. And it looked like Horizon. in first person in VR.
It looks good.
There's
Honestly,
free climbing.
honestly, watching that in first person makes me kind of wish Horizon was a first person game.
I feel like then it would basically be Far Cry Primal
I think
with
it would,
robot dinosaurs.
I think it would have been Killzone with a bow and arrow.
Yeah.
Which, again, not bad, because Killzone was, again, still to this day, one of the most fluid FPSs I've ever played in my life. Gameplay-wise.
Yeah.
So I would have been cool with that. And knowing what Guerrilla... I mean, think about it this way. Like, Guerrilla has always been at the top of the game with FPSs with the Killzone franchise. Think about if they didn't jump into the third-person action-adventure foray and stuck with that. Like, I feel like Horizon, honestly, arguably, could have been an even better game if they stuck to their guns with a gameplay system that they already knew how to work inside and out.
Yeah, but maybe. But I personally, I like the melee in Horizon, and I feel like that would not feel nearly as good
Maybe
in a first person setting. Maybe in VR because there's a lot of like swinging.
Well, I mean, so you think about there's a lot of games now that have in the first person aspect because FPSs are king right now when it comes
Jesus
to
Christ.
you know
I'm so sorry.
They have the most market share out of video games nowadays. I would think, at least on the AAA level. They've all found a way to make gameplay feel. There's a sense of feel with that now. Like games like Wolfenstein, where you feel the blows. Even like you can even compare it to third person over the shoulder games like God of War, where it's not quite first person, but it still handles like one.
Yeah.
And you feel the weight of those blows.
The only thing is, like with Horizon, though, there's a lot of acrobatics to the melee.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of like spinning and flying and like launching yourself off of something. And like, I feel like that would get kind of dizzying. But I guess we'll see.
And it's similar,
especially since this is going to be first person in VR, this will be a kind of way for us to see what could have been.
And you could see Mirror's Edge, flippity flip flop,
first person flip flops. Bad
Dying Light,
bad for parkour. Flip flops are bad for parkour.
Yeah, I understand. Thank you.
But I think this game looks great.
It does. It looks really good. I'm excited for it.
I liked the climbing actually, and I know that probably seems boring, but like grabbing the little edges and doing the thing, and then
hopefully it's better than the climbing with fucking Astrobot in Astro's Playroom.
Oh yeah,
hopefully it's a lot better than that shit. That was awful.
Yeah, but it only lasted 2 minutes, and then you're on to something. It
felt like
great.
half an hour.
It did, but still.
It was terrible.
We don't talk shit about Astro here.
We don't talk about climbing in Astrobot. We don't talk about climbing.
Why does that work? That's what.
It was our wedding day. And you still have to follow.
And then Astrobot just like runs in.
He was climbing all over the seats.
God. Jesus Christ. All right.
With everything, Steven.
What are we doing now? Can we just get this out of the way?
What?
I don't want to.
That's what you want to get out of the way?
Yeah, I want to get because I'm not as excited for this.
All right, fine, sure.
Let's do it. All right. Rollerdrome was revealed. All right.
Yeah, no, I mean, so this comes from the creator of Ollie Ollie World.
Which they're good.
Yeah, it felt. So I watched this with Rachel, the State of Play. And the way they opened up, Rachel's like, good Lord, I get people love this shit, but why is everything killing in all of these games? She's like, good Lord, it's like that's all games can be now on a high level and AAA aspect. And in my mind, I'm not saying anything. I'm just watching the show. I'm like, yeah, okay. But I'm like, there's zombies, there's aliens, all sorts of shit. I'm like, okay, it kind of fits with that too, which doesn't help. It means all games have zombies and aliens now, at least on a heavy level scale. Yeah. Then I'm like, oh, here's this game. This dude's in a roller skating rink in a very colorful world. And then he starts shooting people. I'm like, God damn it. So it's fine. Honestly, I felt more Hotline Miami vibes than I did Ollie Ollie, just because of the colorful aspect and the music. And then it's the lightheartedness it took to actually shooting people in the roller arena. Similar to Miami, where it's like just this colorful, vibrant, very fast-paced killing spree for the most part. I was just like, okay, I don't know. I would have preferred just an Ollie Ollie game, but instead of skateboards, just roller skates.
Well,
Or
Ollie Ollie World did just come out, like a month ago?
no.
World? Ollie
Yeah.
Ollie World?
Yeah, not a month
They
ago.
have been hyping it for a little while. Or no, they just
Yeah,
released
what are
a
you
new.
talking about?
There was like new content for it. Never
Yeah,
mind.
yeah. World's been out for a while.
Sorry,
now.
new content for it just
Yeah.
came out. Never mind. Either way, I don't know. This one didn't really get me all that excited. I don't really care too much for online stuff unless it's like very different.
Yeah, has to be
And
unique.
it just, I don't know. It I wasn't vibing with the art style, just because it seemed empty. Like to me, it just felt empty and like big.
You know what it reminded me of?
What?
Remember that show on Adult Swim, China, Illinois?
Oh,
That that is
Yeah.
what vibes I got watching this trailer, and I just imagine this big tall dude looking to go and take your ass back to school, back to China, Illinois. That's what I pictured watching this trailer. And I'm like,
there have
this
been
is
too many blasts
so-
from the past. We have Eye of Judgment, just Resident Evil 4, and now Chinatown,
China, Illinois.
China, Illinois. God, the stupid panda.
Yeah, that show was so bad, but people loved it.
God. Well, so Rollerdrome exists. If you like online stuff and if you're a fan of Ollie Ollie, then maybe check it out. I just don't think it's my cup of tea.
Yeah,
I don't want to shit on it.
yeah, not much to say about it, honestly.
Yeah.
But check out one of the PlayStation blog. Next up,
What are we doing?
we're gonna go there. We're gonna get that one knocked out too.
All right. Boom.
Marvel Spider-Man coming to PC, and not just Marvel Spider-Man Remastered, but also Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales coming to PC. This is huge. That game was already gorgeous, much like God of War was. So to be able to take that fidelity and just chalk it up there, that's big deal. That game's gonna look beautiful as hell and run smooth as shit.
This is
too.
exciting to me because even though I don't play anything on PC,
Mhm.
it's kind of interesting just seeing like the content that people make because they mod the shit out of PC stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And
There's a mod now.
there's just a lot of funny stuff. Like
There's Kratos fight in the Stranger in God of War. They modded that first fight to where Kratos is fighting Master Chief.
yeah,
And
like,
that's cool.
yeah, that's just cool stuff.
So
And there's already a costume for Peter Parker to be swinging around in his underwear. There's probably going to be a mod where there's no underwear. So
ridiculous people, savages,
Nicholas Noir,
depraved.
look out for that one.
Look out for Peter Parker's huge package.
Peter's package. Peter Parker's package.
Peter Parker's pecker.
Peter Parker's peckered package.
Peckered pack. That sounds painful.
It does.
That sounds like it's just been pecked to
I just
death
imagine
by
like
pigeons.
he like slowly removes his boxers and then Pecker from Jack 2 is just
Oh.
there.
Odin says,
Odin, the spider slinger.
"Oh, we can't have
I
that."
mean, that's fine.
No,
Could have been worse.
it was. But yeah, so what's also really cool about this is that we're seeing a shorter turnaround for games to make their way to PC from PlayStation. So if you think it originally started with Horizon Zero Dawn,
Yeah.
making its way. That game originally launched in 2014, 2015, made its way to PC a year or two ago. Long time span there. So that was roughly 5, 6, almost 7 years.
God of War took like 1 year.
God of War launched in 2018. So it coming to PC early this year, almost two
shit.
and a half.
Why does it feel like everything is
Right?
so squished?
So time flies, man.
I'm gonna blink and we will be 50 years old.
Shut the fuck
Jesus. Oh, my
I have a
goodness.
kid, so imagine how that feels like. His birthday.
Your son is gonna be 50 years old, and you're just gonna be like,
I'm just trying to get my 8K television to play God of War Ragnarok.
we're gonna be streaming talking about PlayStation.
Jesus. Man. And then now, Miles Morales, while it doesn't have a release date, it's coming later this year. That game's launched with the PS5.
So that was a year and a half.
So a year and a half now. We're going to get to a point where, especially with the help of Nixus, now that they were purchased by PlayStation,
Yeah.
those ports and those carryovers, while I don't think they're going to happen immediately to PC, the turnaround time is going to be months.
Did they have a logo splash? I feel like I remember seeing their logo pop up.
Uh-huh.
So that's kind of cool. I think that's the first time we've seen that.
I think we saw it when God of War, but I think they helped with that.
But when they announced it, they had a logo splash
For God of War from the PC?
with Nixus.
I believe so. I could be wrong. It's been a while since I've watched it,
Well,
But,
either way,
yeah.
I feel like it's going to be happening more frequently and faster, like you said. And I think that's exciting.
Yeah,
I think that's good.
My money's still there. Will never be a day and date with PC releases. So here's the thing. I think PlayStation has realized that PC gamers don't care. They're a different breed, right? They're not into the whole console space. They're playing on their PC. They'll play what comes to them, and they're just fine because they have a wider selection than either console does on any aspect. I would arguably say most PC players probably have in conjunction with their PC a Switch because Nintendo games just don't come to PC at all. So I think PlayStation 1, I think they're going to want to capitalize on making sure that they get a return on investment by putting games out first on there. 2, because it is not a third party, I should say, but not the home developer making the game playable on PC. Like Nixus isn't going to work hand in hand with Insomniac on Wolverine day and date. They're going to wait for Wolverine to get done. Wolverine will release, then Nixus will get there and then release afterwards.
We don't know because PlayStation first-party studios notoriously always share resources and work with one another. Like they develop their games in conjunction. Like the horse animation for Last of Us Part 2 is also the horse animation for Ghost of Tsushima with tweaks, obviously. Yeah. But because I don't think the Ghost of Tsushima horse. No, actually, I don't want to spoil anything. But anyways, so like there's a lot of interchangeability and
a lot of sharing.
So I wonder if Nixus is now just going to be kind of like a meandering studio that's like, okay, you're working on this thing. Let's make sure that this easily ports over to PC, and that can be done by doing this. But I don't really know much about like the development scene. But before we go on, I wanted to touch on something. You said that you don't think a PlayStation first-party game will ever be day and date on PC. I disagree, but only when it comes to a live service multiplayer game. I think that since those kinds of games live or die based on their initial user base and getting like a lot of people playing it and into it right when it launches, I feel like it would make sense for those games to be cross-play and day and date launch, or at least like within the same week,
right?
On console and PC.
Yeah.
My prediction is that we're going to see that for Last of Us Factions, and that'll be the first day and date thing. I don't know if that one needs it.
I don't know if I go that far on there because we don't have Last of Us 2 on PC yet. I would imagine we'd see that first before.
Yeah, but they're so. Well, I don't know the scope of Factions either, though.
Yeah,
it seems like it's grown into something bigger. Can you read that? I'm coughing.
Yeah, so Nicholas Noir comes out and says, I think it's the architecture. PS3 architecture was vastly different than PC. It was very hard to push against PC. It's not the same with PS5. And you're not wrong there. I mean, that's the reason like PS3 games just aren't on PS5 or PS4 due to the architecture there. I think we'll see again. I think it's not about the capability of PlayStation not being able to do it. I think it's a willingness. One, Nixus will probably handle every PC port from PlayStation to PC. I think Nixus, while probably big, isn't sizable enough to cover that many first-party games.
I'm going to look up how many people work there.
I don't think they're going to be sizable enough to cover that many games to port readily. I think they're going to focus on one at a time. And I think because of that, they're going to wait. PlayStation 2 also has notably been about we want our stuff on PlayStation first before putting it on anything. So while that time frame of what's coming to PC is shorter, they're still going to want to drive their initial investment on PlayStation consoles. Now, as I was stating with PC, they're realizing PC players are different. They realize they're never going to get PC players playing PlayStation games unless they put PC games or PlayStation 5 games on PC, because PC players are okay with not going out and spending money on a PlayStation 5 console because of all the money they've dumped into making sure their rig is top tier. They can live without. So now they're tapping into that market, and they also know PC players are patient. It's not unheard of for PC games to not launch day and date as they do with console. And PC players are okay. They're not going to go, oh man, Dark Souls isn't launching on my PC right away and it's coming to my Xbox that day. I'll wait for it to come to PC. They're okay with not doing
now,
it.
like, with that being said, though, I almost feel like because there are so many options, it's easier for things to get lost in the shuffle. And it's more rare for something to have a high attach rate on PC. Like, especially for online stuff. Like, I feel like PC multiplayer games kind of live or die based on either their streamability or their like community aspect.
Yep.
And there's not. I mean, I'm removed from the PC space, so I could be talking out my ass, but I don't really feel like there's much room in between for something to thrive with like a small community on PC. But maybe I'm wrong.
Well, you're also talking. I don't want to say apples and oranges because one, that's a dumbass phrase. They're both fruits. Two, I say you're comparing.
Oranges are better though.
Depending on the day, I go back and forth. But we're talking online. You're talking online games as service type games. When I think PlayStation, I'm thinking Spider-Man, thinking Wolverine, thinking God of War, single player, story driven adventures.
Yeah, but
it doesn't need that community to thrive.
But factions will.
Factions, yes, but I'm not talking about factions.
So like, and whatever their Twisted Metal project is, will, unless it's a single player experience. But either way, we've got 15 minutes left.
All right, well,
let's just keep going. So next thing, Jesus, what are we doing? All right, which one's next? What do you want to do?
We've got Final Fantasy 16. We have a release window of next year of 2023. We got a new gameplay trailer. More information on the PlayStation blog. Looks really cool. So this is the first.
It looks beautiful.
Yeah, it looked good. The gameplay is more action heavy. It reminds me of Devil May Cry with how fast it is, but it still keeps a lot of RPG aspects. I think they took a lot of lessons they did with Strangers of Paradise and carried it over and polished it and refined it. Story looks really cool with it being more of a medieval European type setting.
It seems darker.
There's more political behind the scenes going on with conversations. We saw a little bit of that with Final Fantasy 15, with Noctis being a prince and trying to handle the throne and the weight of being the prince and becoming a king and all that stuff and the responsibility that comes with that. This is more like there's different organizations and different countries all fighting, and then these massive what looks like boss battles between the different summons. Looks fucking awesome.
What are they called? Aeons or whatever?
Eons?
Yeah.
That'll be sick.
And
can't wait.
There was a specific shot in this trailer that I thought looked particularly impressive where it almost looked live action. But there was like just a couple seconds of this like field with these two like armies running at each other. And just like the lighting and the way that the grass was and the animation with the people, it looked stunning. I thought it looked beautiful.
It's gonna play smooth. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty cool.
Can't wait.
I'm not as excited about the game, but I can acknowledge how nice it looked. And eventually I'll maybe get to it.
All right. Next up, Tunic, coming to PS4 and PS5 this year. Tunic originally launched on Game Pass for Xbox and was an immediate hit and an indie darling, taking lessons from old classic Legend of Zelda games. Actually saw a little bit of the gameplay here at home. It's really interesting because the game doesn't the language is in like what's the word I'm looking for? Sigils. Not you can't read everything. Even the in-game manual that teaches you how to do things is completely in a different language. But as you progress and collect pages and experience new things, they all become translated to English, allowing you to learn more about what the game is. So you're kind of left in the dark, but as you play it progress, it's really, I think that's a really unique thing to do. I can't think of a game where we've seen something like that happen.
Fez. It reminds me of Fez.
Fez.
The puzzle aspect of it reminds me of Fez, which is a very good thing. But yeah, the game seems really cool, and that was Xbox and PC exclusive.
Yes,
right. For a hot second, is it on Switch?
No, I don't believe so.
But now
I'd search it, but I can't. Nothing on the internet is working with me searching it. So,
so
if there's any issues with the stream and we can't notice it, we apologize.
Jesus.
Yeah,
no, it looks like it's fine.
Well, it's connected, but it's running slow. My phone, I can't even pull up the PlayStation blog right now.
Well, also earlier I looked up how many employees Nixus has, and then I forgot to say it. But 56,
Yeah, ain't
according
no
to the
way.
quick internet search. But also 56 people. That's a decent amount. I feel like they could probably port 2 things at a time. So
maybe on a standard level, but I imagine with how heavy duty and how intricate, how much PlayStation wants to make sure their stuff is quality, they want to put a lot of focus into one thing at a time, make sure everything's running, not
Mhm.
half-assing the job.
how do you feel about dating action? Let's do some dating action. This was probably the most difficult to explain announcement.
No, honestly, so it's really cool. Honestly, it's not surprising. It is Eternites was announced. It is an anime action dating RPG. So think
A lot of buzzwords.
Scarlet Nexus with gameplay, with the hack and slash, very fast paced. Isekai, so main character travels to another world. Even though they're not, the other world's kind of like brought to them. And he's got a harem of other women he can kind of just date and interact with. And you have that relationship building aspect of you see what in like Persona games, but more romance heavy. So it looks cool. I'm actually really excited for it. Normally, I kind of just like fuck that dating shit, but the gameplay and the flashiness and the anime inspired, and I'm like, okay, the dating stuff. As far from what I can tell, I mean, it's like there's already a meme out there of like press R2 to hold hands with someone, and I'm like, okay, I don't normally go for that shit, but I don't know why, but I'm into it this time.
There's for me. There's a significant lack of anime men to swoon. So that's
yeah, but that's typical
my
anime.
drawback.
That's typical anime.
It's typical.
So
I don't like typical. I like atypical, which is why I'm very excited for Season: A Letter to the Future. We got a new trailer. Now this was announced. I think it was the Game Awards actually.
I believe so, or at least in that time frame. It was holiday last year.
Yeah, or it was during the original PlayStation showcase. I can't remember. But either way, this has been announced before. There was a trailer. It really just showed environments. We didn't know what the fuck was happening. But now,
We knew bike riding was happening. We knew that.
yeah, that is true. But now there's a new trailer that kind of goes into the story a bit. So in this one, you play as a character who is trying to chronicle this world and its culture before the season changes, and there's like it. It seems the game seems to imply that when the season changes, people don't know if they're going to survive or not. So you're basically deciding what is going to be remembered in the future by documenting it. And the gameplay seems like chill as fuck. It looks beautiful. You get to ride a bike, and the way that you collect things is you can take pictures of things, which I love. You can also like write in your journal, and you can like interview people and kind of like record their stories. And you have a little like microphone, and you can record audio and print it on records, so that you can like have a record player and listen to like the sounds of nature, or if a character is singing or something. And I don't know, I think it looks really cool. I love this existential crisis, like, are we gonna fucking die? What are the most important things that we should remember? Like, I love that kind of shit. This game seems like a good, like, I want to snuggle under a blanket and fall asleep to like beautiful noises kind of game.
The way that things were being narrated reminded me of what Remains of Edith Finch.
I think one of the voice actresses is actually one of the kids in What Remains of Edith Finch.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the same voice actress because I recognized the voice, and I was like, "Oh, this is that character."
There's a sense of familiarity there for me.
Yeah, and similar kind of themes as well.
Mm-hmm.
Not to spoil What Remains of Edith Finch, even though the game came out in 2017 or whatever.
Yeah, fuck it. Spoilers. Ruin the whole goddamn thing, Steven. There were aliens, Steven. Aliens.
But they're.
And What Remains of Edith Finch? Aliens.
There may or may not have been aliens. I will not confirm nor deny. Season looks really great. I'm very excited about it. That was actually my game of the show for the State of Play. Was Season, with this other one actually being the runner-up.
Stray. It's coming. We haven't seen anything about this game since like the announcement of the PS5 last year.
Yeah, and it was just an adorable cat with a backpack and
robots. Why the fuck have we not heard more about this? There can't be that much going into it.
Yeah, and there was hype because it's a cat, and people like cats.
Internet loves cats. But it's really cool. So we have our July release date of this year. What's really cool is that it'll be included as a free game if you subscribe to the PlayStation Plus Extra or Premium tier. So if you bump up your monthly payment from $10 to $15 a year, or you go from a month or you go from
A
60
year.
to $100 a year with the extra tier, boom, another free game.
Yep. And the fact that they're doing something that launches day and date with one of the extra tiers, that's interesting to me. Even though it's not first party, it's worth noting because this is the first time that we have confirmation that something like that is going to be happening. So that's cool, at least with the new PlayStation Plus.
I think we'll see more of that. I mean, we saw it with PlayStation 5 with games like
Shadow Warrior.
No.
Shadow Warrior 3 launched
on PlayStation Now.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I'm talking like games like Oddworld, Soulstorm.
Oh, yeah.
Destruction All Stars, Marquette. Games like that where they're indie games launching for their first time and they're free on PlayStation Plus. I think we'll start seeing less of those as the initial games for free, but more of, hey, if you subscribe to the higher tiers.
That's what's interesting about this.
I think we'll see more of that.
Is we're still getting the free games at the basic tier. So this is an additional game that's launching. So that's what makes this kind of interesting to make note of.
I think we're gonna see some backlash from this, right? Because we got June's PlayStation Plus games. This is the last month they're doing it because end of June is when the new PlayStation format rolls out. PlayStation Plus format rolls out, where we have 3 games coming with Naruto, Boruto the Shinobi Striker, God of War 2018, and then there's another one, but I can't remember the name. 3 games.
Nickelodeon.
All-Star Battle Royale.
Yeah.
All coming. That's a final one. I think after that, then in July, we'll start getting just 2 standard games. So now I think people are going to be more peeved that in the past, chances are Stray would have been free for people who had PlayStation Plus for the first 3 months, much like Marquette, PlayStation Destruction All-Stars Battle Royale.
Yeah.
And Oddworld Soulstorm. Now I can't talk. Good Lord, kill me. Just muzzle me, something. Anyway, I think we're gonna see people get backlash from like, wait a minute, if I had the old PlayStation Plus a year ago, I would have gotten this game. Now you're telling me I have to pay an extra $5 a month to get the cat game.
I feel like those people are going to be the very vocal minority.
Yes.
Because
much like most of those complaints do. But
yeah. But so for those of you who don't know, Stray is the cat game. There's a cat. It looks like he has a cute little backpack.
Type world.
There's robots everywhere. But what was interesting about this trailer is it seemed darker than I remember it being. Like the trailer opens with the cat going through this little alleyway, and a robot seems afraid of the cat and like hits an alarm and runs away. So that was kind of interesting. So like, is this a villain cat? I don't know.
Maybe living things just are just rare in the world, in a robot taken world.
This also seemed to focus a little bit more on. So it showed gameplay, but it emphasized like stealth. Like you can hide in a box as a cat. You can jump out. There's also like things shooting lasers, and you have to like kind of
solid cat,
Metal Gear cat, Meowdle Gear,
Metal Gear Meow,
Purse Walker.
Purse.
Actually, that makes sense because you're carrying a little bag on your back. It's Meowdle Gear Solid Purse Walker.
Book it, print it, copyright.
Billionaires.
Let's do it.
Profit.
Dollar bill, y'all.
So that game looks really cool. I'm also very excited for that.
And last but not least, the Callisto Protocol gets a gameplay review.
Dead Space spiritual successor, and it looks awesome.
It looks good. It's pretty. I mean, I shouldn't say pretty. It's ugly. It's like this.
It's pretty
death
ugly.
And gore and gruesome aliens and shit. It's no longer taking in the same role as PUBG, which is good.
Yeah, I don't.
The fact that was a thing was weird. I'm glad they kind of removed that. Didn't need to be a thing. It wasn't going to sell it any further. But yeah, I'm excited.
It looks really gooey.
Yeah.
The only thing that I was disappointed with, and I'm hoping that we're going to see more, but considering this is the spiritual successor to Dead Space, the enemies seemed a little bit too human for me, at least from what they showed, and I didn't see any gruesome like transformations and like as much as I wanted.
Shit for the game to come out, man.
Yeah, I know, but that's like that is why I play those things. I want to see people turn into not people, and I want it to be awful and disgusting, and I want it to keep me up at night.
Wait a minute. No, we saw there was a thing that transformed into a big ugly thing at the end of the trailer.
Yeah, but it was just like a little bit. I want to dwell on it.
Yeah, but you gotta say
I want to question everything.
You can't make you get that in the trailer. This ruins the experience.
The game looks great. The game looks
great. It's hard.
The game looks great. It's hard. And we want to do this for a living.
I kind of already do. But yeah. It's rough. Rough out there for our talker.
It's rough, but not for cats. Because they don't go rough.
They go meow.
Yeah, dogs go rough. Yeah, so that was the state of play for June.
If you had to rate it on a scale of 1 to 5, what would you rate it?
I'll give it a 3.
I'd give it a 3 as well.
It was pretty good.
It wasn't anything crazy surprising.
It had a little bit of something for everyone, I think. It did not actually.
No, it did not.
If you like zombies,
aliens, if you like horror,
it was very horror heavy.
And if you're a little bit of an anime fan,
but I don't know, it had like the weird artsy emotional shit as well.
It had like 1, 2 with Stray and Seasons.
Yeah,
that's about it.
I like that kind of stuff. You forgot about the Coke Plus announcement.
Fuck no. This show is and forever will be sponsored by Pepsi Plus.
All right. Calm down.
No, fuck this.
I think we need to end the show.
Who is this? This is someone else.
Who is this?
Who is the last person who was talking shit about here the Coke Plus nonsense? Who was it? What was the name? They came up with a new username, Steven. They made a new username. And they're coming in here trying to get a coalition.
Was Cody doing it last time?
You told me it was Cody. And if it is Cody, he needs to stop.
Why is Cody Nicholas this time?
This can't be the same. They're making profiles. They're making new ones.
They're harassing us.
Yeah, you get this trash.
No, this is great. This is great. We've got more viewers.
We have 1.
2. No, like in addition to like in the past. There's more things. Anyways,
I don't want those kinds of viewers.
This is now becoming a running gag. It's
not a gag.
Are you happy? Your obsession with Pepsi Nitro and Pepsi Plus.
This is the last bit of my Pepsi Nitro.
That's not true. There's more in the fridge.
The last bit of the open one. They're chilling upstairs, Steven. We're not savage. We won't drink.
They're totally chilled out.
No.
It's been 2 hours.
You don't. Oh,
it's been 2.5 hours.
Talk about how you're drinking Nitro. No wonder your phone is subpar. You're only letting it chill for 2 hours?
I bought those Nitros for you.
And I appreciate it. I need to pay you back for those.
No, you didn't. It's fine.
All right,
you guys fed me. You took care of me while I was sick, like a baby.
Not like a baby.
Put a blanket on me.
As a father of a 1-year-old, I can tell you, I did not take care of him like a baby. That is a totally.
That's right. I didn't fall and slam my head on.
Jesus Christ! I tell you what, being a parent is scary.
Yeah,
like there is no other way to put it. It is terrifying.
That should be a
so much happens in half an hour.
Yeah, you're right.
Any user, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Dual Senses, a PlayStation podcast. A podcast where we give you all of our 2 senses on all things PlayStation. I'm Alex Wolf. This is Stephen Morrow. If you're a fan of the show, by all means, like, comment, rate, subscribe, and share. All the good things, right? If you want to see the show grow and you want to give us a huge level of love, head on over to www.mtfproductions.com/donate, where you can donate as little as $1 to help the show grow. Hopefully, we'll be back to you next week in a more consistent schedule, again, with Steven's new work and all this good stuff.
And the fact that I'm like fucking dying.
And the fact that he's dying
on a regular basis.
We're working on things behind the scenes to make the show more consistent, give you the best products we can. If you have any suggestions or questions, comments, concerns, by all means, you can email us over at bemorethanfriends@gmail.com. And even if you have questions for us to answer on the show, want us opinions on some PlayStation stuff or just general video game stuff, by all means, send it our way. Until then, we'll see you next time, whenever that is.
Thanks for watching and or listening. Love, love, love.
Unless you're over here talking about Coke Plus.
All right. Okay. All right.
Get out.
All right.